One of the things is how terrible the argument of the left was for the last specifically 4 years. It's been bad for 8 years, but 4 years was a little bit ridiculous. So I'm watching this thing here. I'm like, okay, CNN, they're having a conversation about who to blame. And this guy is making a very, very logical. Last night, I'm at the training with my son in the soccer. It's 9 o'clock. I'm there with the two trainers. One guy comes up who's a agent. He's here from London. And another guy who's a guy that played for Miami and Inter Miami, and he's not somewhere else. We're standing there talking. Guy comes up to me. He's on the tennis field. He says, I know this voice. I said, yeah. He says, you're Patrick? I said, I am. He says, I watch you all the time. I said, that's great. He says, I don't agree with you. I said, really? Yeah. I said, tell me who you voted for. He said, I voted for Kamala. I said, really? Tell me why you voted for Kamala. He says, well, I just think Trump, he's just like, he's got the TDS. And I'm like, okay, fine. But when it came to family, he's talking to me with his 3-year-old son on his shoulder. And in this argument right here, you lose that guy. Where that guy sits there and says, I don't agree with this guy. Rob, can you go ahead and play this clip?
The families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys.
But watch what he says. Watch what she says to him.
I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Michael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this.
So what?
I think out of respect for Jay,
out of respect
let's
to what?
try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
What do you mean? So let me rephrase this since I'm being targeted here.
I don't. You're not. Just to be clear, you are not being targeted.
Of course he is.
I'm specifically saying that I know that you are not intending to be transphobic.
It's called common sense.
But
I'm not calling you transphobic.
But I
I'm
want
saying
you
you're
to.
using a phrase
I want to
that
give
you
you an
know.
opportunity.
So the way regular people interpret it,
that's not
which is why
regular
those
people.
ads were
That's not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys. This whole thing about trans girls is a canard. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the
and
case,
we're using
but
that
my point in
to
terms
take
of
away
its
healthcare from
effectiveness.
thousands of people.
Hold on, just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness. Regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what, this is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues.
As exhibited by the interjection from Jay Michaelson.
A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again. Because they saw the metrics suggested that they were working.
In those ads over and over again and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports.
It is.
First of all, we're talking about people in the entire country.
So, Charlie, you've not seen it, so
no, that's
raw
remarkable.
reaction. Go ahead.
I mean, but rarely are you able to then see the contention and the point proved in one clip. So Michael is saying, one of the reasons why Democrats are failing is because boys are in women's sports. And the guy then says, no, you have to stop doing that. He was doing real-time speech police, real-time thought interruption of a very valid point, by the way, that Michael is making. And yes, let's just be very legitimate here. There are men in female sports. Just ask Riley Gaines. It is happening every single day. It's happening at the biggest possible level. It's happening even at the Olympics. It's happening all across the board. And it is something that Donald Trump's most effective political advertisement this cycle, and Susie Wiles deserves such credit for this and her entire team because they trust their instinct. It was a two-sequence ad. They did A and B. The first one is where they showed Kamala Harris sitting down with a trans activist in California where she was bragging that illegals got taxpayer-funded gender reassignment surgery. I mean, just like and bragging about it.
Yep.
Then they ran another ad of Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club reacting to that and basically saying, Kamala Harris is for they, them, Donald Trump is for you. And they went all in on that ad. Now, what is it about that ad? Of all the stuff.
I saw that on the Yankees game. I saw it on the playoffs game. It was everywhere.
But hold on a second. I got to disagree a little bit with Bill O'Reilly here, based on what you said. It wasn't just groceries and gas, because the Trump campaign spent $75 million on a non-grocery and gas, because that ad struck down to a chord that was Kamala Harris's weakness. She is this radical ideologue from California who will pander to foreigners, not Americans, with the most wild, abstract left-wing ideas, and then incorporated in that, oh, by the way, She's also for they, them. So anyone who's dealing with that kind of HR policing in the corporate life, it's kind of a little trigger. And they even said in the ad that Kamala supports men and female sports. I mean, it hit all the points in 30 seconds. And what did you just say, PBD? Where did they place that ad? The brilliance of the Trump campaign. They only ran it on NFL football and the World Series and male-dominated media. They didn't run that on Lifetime. And that's why Donald Trump did historically well with young male voters.
Yeah, look, this is a complex situation. It resonates easily. Having a black guy say it, Charlemagne the God was a force multiplier in that regard as well. But look, the Democrats lost because they underperformed. All right, that is a really important thing to remember, because what does that tell you? It tells you they didn't get their people out. When you look at where Trump grew, he grew obviously with people who didn't vote for him before. So something changed in this election that made people stay home, and some of them who did go out went out for him. I think the economics are a big part of that.
Of course. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that's an example.
Yeah,
that it's
this
not
is
a complete picture, though.
Here's my problem with this issue, and I welcome this. I say all the time, you're not going to get a lot of parents to vote for you when you say it's okay that a guy my size is playing girls volleyball in high school. They don't like the idea. Okay. Does it happen a lot? No. Does it happen? Yes, obviously. We're talking about it. I am worried, though, that there is an offset on the issue, which is what happens most with the LGBTQ plus community.
You forgot IA.
IA. I have a problem with that. I get yelled at for this all the time.
And Two-Spirit.
Whatever it is, okay, I'm okay with all of it.
You got to get the whole thing.
I know, because I get yelled at when I don't, but I'm not missing it on purpose, okay? My point is this. What happens to them most...
It's so totalitarian.
Well,
it is, because if you miss the acronym, you're a hater.
That's right. That's a mistake. But two things can be true at once. What happens to that community most is that they're discriminated against. And I'm worried about the gay kid, the trans kid that is living in a real profound state of fear, and people are hurting them. That happens a lot. Now, is the correction...
What are you talking about, Chris?
Listen, people target those people. And they get bullied, they get beat up.
Christians too. People get bullied because they're fat and overweight, or they talk funny.
True, but they have more with these kids. And I'm just worried about what you do to them. I agree with the argument. Males and female sport doesn't make any sense.
But in this context, Chris, it's only trans. He's not talking about gay or lesbian.
I know.
This 2-minute video, the guy is saying, when you start putting men competing in women's sports, the guy comes out, Jay, corrects him, saying you can't have transphobia.
Don't call them boys.
Yeah, don't call them boys. These are trans girls. And then, to top it off, the host defends this argument and then tells him to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What?" So to me, what happens here is the following. What percentage of CNN viewership is going to be Democrat? Let's say 80%, 70%, whatever the number is.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the 40s, but it's okay. It's gonna be a plurality. It's not a majority.
I think it's going to be more liberals than Republicans that watch.
Yes.
Well, a lot of people watch it at the airport.
They calculate it that way. So
There's
take
still
that
people,
out.
By the way.
But watch this. I'm
saying it brings up the average.
But meaning the audience that goes to CNN is that audience, right?
Yeah.
You know what happens? How many of the guys that are sitting there saying, "Bro, I've been voting Democrat my entire life. What the? I don't agree with this." Thanksgiving's around the corner. Christmas is around the corner. There was a moment that Kamala was uncomfortable saying Merry Christmas. She wanted to say Happy Holidays. Rob, can you play this clip? Go ahead and play this clip for the audience. Go ahead.
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
Okay, you can pause it right there. So guess what? I want to say Merry Christmas this Christmas. Very simple. And if you are confident enough to say it as well, we had a very deep discussion, because not everybody that works here is Christian would say, listen, guys, we want to create merch that's very bold, that says Merry Christmas with maybe some scripture in it. Let's see if we have an audience for it. Pat, I don't know if it's a good idea and all this other stuff. That's what I stand for. You want it, great. You don't want it, I totally get it. But if you're watching this and you want to get a Merry Christmas hat, you go to Starbucks and you got the sun. I just want to see the reaction. You smile. You go to work, you got a Merry Christmas hat. You got to take that hat off, right? Hey, you want another hat here? You want some of the ugly sweaters that we have here, Rob? Can you show some of the stuff that we got here? You want to get some of the stuff for your kids, shirts, Future Looks Bright, Merry Christmas gear is officially here. And if you're bold enough to do it and order it, and again, you place any orders of these, we're going to put some Future Looks Bright ornaments in the order for you, limited edition custom that we have for the first 100 that place the order. If you're bold enough and you're comfortable going out there telling people Merry Christmas, and you're a valuetainer that believes the future looks bright, go place an order, and let's make some people uncomfortable or comfortable this Christmas with saying Merry Christmas. Having said that, let's get right into it. Charlie, and by the way, you can go to VT Merch to place the order. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.